Testing, testing. This is a test. How's it going, guys? I'm just making sure everything is working, which I think it is. Okay, so today, this is going to be just a quick 80-minute stream. I want to premiere my latest video that explains my thinking behind my latest game, Emoji Pop, which you can play at playemojipop.com. And then after that, if we have time, after we discuss that, I want to maybe play a little of Emoji Pop. And if not, we'll just get back to designing levels tomorrow. Just so you know, my name is Dylan, and I make a game called Emoji Pop, which is free online. And it's a really fun mobile puzzle game that also allows you to create your very own levels. So, let me make sure this is working. So if you hit this pencil button at the bottom, you open up, oh, 1 second. I see what's happening. So if you hit the pencil button at the bottom, so normally this is the main game where you're beating levels to make progress. But if you click this pencil button, you open up the level editor. And in there you can design your own levels using the obstacles that you've unlocked by playing the main game. So what I'm trying to kind of do is challenge. I know I'm a solo developer with no resources. I don't have any artists or programmers. I'm kind of just a game designer who wanted to try to make my own take on a video game that I really love, which is the bubble shooter. And so what I'm trying to do is challenge. We often spend time critiquing games like Candy Crush for being addictive and manipulative, but we don't ever create products that can actually challenge their dominance. So these companies that make games that we call manipulative, they basically own millions of players, of casual game players, and the people who are trying to affect change are actually affecting no change. They're only preventing indie game developers from engaging in the casual mobile space effectively. And so my whole thing is, let's make games that actually start to challenge their dominance, that show other ways of designing these games that can be just as fun, but without being as manipulative. So first, let's watch this video. Let's see if we can get this to work. If anyone's in the chat, let me know what the volume is like. Oh, don't have any. I'll be checking the stream chatters occasionally, so let me know if you have any questions or whatever. So let's start by playing the video. It's a kind of funny video.
Hey everyone, my name is Dylan, and I'm the creator of the new puzzle game Emoji Pop, which I believe has what it takes to replace Candy Crush as the quintessential casual mobile puzzle game. My game Emoji Pop is a revolutionary new puzzle game that you can play online from any phone or computer at playemojipop.com. It's a bubble shooter game which requires you to aim and fire colored emojis in order to make matches and to complete levels. By completing worlds, you unlock insane new emojis that completely change the way the game plays. The dagger emoji is constantly spinning on the board, so you have to hit it at just the right time in order to launch it in the right direction. The Space Invader emoji moves back and forth across the puzzle, turning the game into a shooter just like the original Space Invaders game. My favorite emoji in the game is the phone emoji. If you hit the phone, it opens up a mini level for you to play, which you can earn extra moves. You can have a mini level within a mini level within a mini level. It's like bubble shooter Inception. You're probably wondering why...
Okay, so I'm going to pause it right there. So I can't actually hear the audio of the video, but I'm pretty certain of what I just said. So in this first minute, what I'm talking about is... so I used to help make bubble shooter games in the industry. And so I got some exposure to the design of these kinds of games. And so something that seems to dominate the thinking of these developers in the industry is modeling, replicating the success of Candy Crush and similar titles. So Candy Crush was made a very specific way using the saga map model, which I'll talk about later in this video. So every level, in order to go to the next level, you have to beat the level that you're on. So that means that there's going to be times where players are stuck for even weeks, playing the same level over and over again until they spend money or they beat the level finally and get to advance. So for some reason, game developers have it in their mind that all mobile puzzle games should be designed with this exact same progression model because it was so successful and kind of birthed this whole industry. We feel like we have to keep copying that. However, that model worked very well for that specific gameplay. And so developers are failing to realize that these gameplay systems are very different and require very different progression systems that otherwise, so for bubble shooters, having a progression model based around the saga map, which is level by level by level, because bubble shooters are more skill based than match threes, which is something else I'll talk about more. Bubble shooter players get frustrated when they have to keep playing the level over and over again because they don't perceive these games to be based in randomness. They perceive them to be based in skill. So if you lose a level a few times, you're already starting to feel like I'm not getting the trick. You're starting to feel like you might be dumb or not good at this game, or you feel like the game is cheating you, or you basically feel like it's impossible because to you the game is based in skill, and that's something you obviously don't possess. So after a few losses, you might quit the game entirely. Whereas in match threes, players have a lot more they have a lot more determination to keep playing because the game they perceive to be based in chance. So they want to keep on playing because they feel like their next playthrough could be the lucky one where they break through. So that's a major, major difference between these two gameplay systems, yet they're designed exactly the same way without even a second thought. So another thing I talk about when I'm talking about organic game design, I'm talking about like let's stop just copying other things and putting them with other things in ways we don't understand. Let's take a gameplay system and from the ground up, let's organically come up with what's the best game instead of having a whole part of the game designed, the progression system and the monetization scheme, instead of having that designed from day zero without even considering it, and then having when developing the game with a gameplay system having all these inherent contradictions. Let's actually design a game from the ground up in the casual mobile puzzle space. So that's kind of informed every aspect of the design of Emoji Pop. So I'll keep playing the video and I'm going to be able to talk more about that. But right now in the video I'm talking about why, as a solo developer, why would I be saying these things? Why would I be saying like these really over-the-top things like I'm going to compete with Candy Crush? And it's not really a realistic thing yet. What I'm really talking about is my approach. My approach is going to be the thing that challenges these companies. My ability to think outside the box and come up with new solutions in these new spaces that these corporate developers are not able to even think within. This is how we're going to start challenging these companies by doing what they do, but just doing it in a less manipulative way and in a way that's productive to people's lives and I think is more fun. Making games less like a slot machine and more like, I don't know, something else. So I'm going to continue the video and we'll keep watching.
I, a solo indie game developer with no resources, have what it takes to dethrone Candy Crush, a game that makes several billions of dollars per year. The reason is that I used to work for these giant corporate game developers that make games like Candy Crush and Toon Blast and Homescape. I think these companies, for the most part, do a really good job at cranking out match threes that generate a lot of money and engage a lot of players. However, many of these giant entertainment companies are completely unable to explore new ideas. I don't think that match threes are going to remain the dominant mobile puzzle game for long. I think as these casual gamers get more and more experience with gaming, they're going to demand a game with more skill. I think that bubble shooters are going to be that genre that revolutionizes the casual mobile industry again. Bubble shooters have a very elegant gameplay system, just like match threes, but they require a little more skill and allow players to get a little more invested in the game. This is why I've tried to create the coolest bubble shooter I could possibly make in Emoji Pop. Let's play it for a minute. You can play it on your own at playemojipop.com. Alright, so we're going to playemojipop.com on my computer, but you can also do it from your mobile device. We're going to be asked if we want to log in by going through the Facebook or Twitter options or by submitting our email. That's important if you want to save your progress. To play the game, you drag your mouse or finger around this gray box to aim, and to fire, you let go. So we just popped a bunch of soap bubbles right there. But most of the time we're looking for colored matches. So I have a blue emoji shooter, so I'm going to shoot it at the blue emojis to make a match, and then that exposes the soap bubbles that we can pop. And this is our first star. So in these worlds, there's stars that unlock mini levels. If we hit a star, we unlock the mini level, and if we win this level in 20 moves, then we get bonus moves that allows us to keep progressing in the game quicker. So let's start making matches. There's 3 colors in this level. There's a lot of little matches. The matches we really care about are the matches at the very top, these 3 giant triangle matches. If we hit all 3 of those, they'll drop everything below. And by beating this level, we'll get to spin a slot machine that rewards us bonus moves. And next time we beat a level, because we just won, we'll get an even bigger slot machine. So here's the slot machine. So I'm hoping for 2 smiley faces to get 3 bonus moves. So I got the 2 smiley faces, so I get some bonus moves that allows me to keep progressing in this world. So as you can see, the game is structured very differently from the way other match 3s and bubble shooters on the app stores today are designed. Most corporately made casual mobile puzzle games involve the Sega map approach. The Sega map model is where players have to beat every single level in a linear list in order to keep progressing. So if you get stuck on a level and aren't able to beat it, you're forced to play that level over and over and over again until you finally win. This is where companies make their money. Players who have to play the same level over and over again are eventually going to get tired, and they're going to be incentivized to spend a little money. This works great for match 3s because the gameplay perfectly balances chance and skill. This perfect balance makes players confident in their ability to eventually succeed. Because players of match 3s are so tenacious, level designers can make levels that are really hard. This is why match 3s generate 20% of all games revenue on the App Store. Bubble shooters are way more skill-based than match 3s. Casual players of bubble shooters do not have the same determination as match 3 players. After losing a few times in a bubble shooter, an average player will start feeling like either they're dumb or that the game is cheating them, because the game, at least to the player's perception, is way more skill-based, not chance-based. In Emoji Pop, player progression is never walled off. If you aren't able to beat a level, that level will eventually go away and you're allowed to keep progressing as normal. By structuring the game like this, I'm allowed to actually embrace skill. Other developers of bubble shooters have to completely remove the element of skill so that they don't punish players. This makes bubble shooters very boring. Other corporately made bubble shooters on the market, like Bubble Witch Sega 3 and Panda Pop, completely remove the element of skill from their games because they have to cater to the total noob player. Because if they don't remove the element of skill, these players will get stuck and immediately quit, and the games won't be able to generate enough revenue to be profitable. Because I've designed Emoji Pop in such a way that players are never punished for not beating a level, I'm allowed to totally embrace the element of skill, which is what makes bubble shooters so cool to begin with. So the cool elements of the game I was showing you that involve skill and timing and pressure, these things would never be featured in one of my competitors' games. A lot of gamers criticize companies like King for making games that manipulate its audience.
Well, some say it can be as addictive as drugs or alcohol. Smartphone games like Candy Crush and Farm Heroes have become more than just fun for some.
Erin admits she uses multiple devices to gain more game lives while paying less attention to her daughter.
If Candy Crush and other free-to-play games feel like insidious mind control devices, it's only because they are.
If you play Candy Crush on your smartphone or tablet, well, you're the reason for the current deterioration of American society.
Candy Crush becomes a vicious cycle, a horrible addiction.
Mario, don't play that game. It's not just candy. It's evil. Evil candy.
That's stupid! I'm playing it! Oh my god!
I can kind of see their argument for this. So in games like Candy Crush, if you can't beat a level, you have to play over.
I don't know if it's just me, but the video seems kind of off in my streaming, so I'm just gonna pause it there. If you want to watch the full video, it's going to be available on YouTube August 20th, which is Thursday. Just want to make sure this is working. Sometimes my streams seem to lag a bit. It says I'm offline. Am I really offline? I don't think so. I'm online. Cool. Let me know if you have any questions. But yeah, the video is going to be, it's on my Facebook. You can search Emoji Pop. There's a Facebook page called like Emoji Pop Play Design Share, and that's also where the video is going to be hosted. Okay, it looks like things are streaming correctly now. It's weird that it kind of broke down. But yeah, I kind of explained like we need to provide players with alternatives to games like Candy Crush that are effective, that are inspired by these established design practices set in place by companies like King and others who make Candy Crush. And we need to transcribe them in a way that is healthy to people. So one of the biggest decisions I made based on that point is I wanted to include a level editor in the game. So when I was in the industry, I totally fell in love. My first job in the industry was as a level designer, and I totally fell in love with it, and it taught me so much about game design. It's insane. Like me before and after that, I just picked up all these skills that were applicable to all sorts of games. Just you need to have that like time to practically like engage in your craft, and I don't think I was effectively able to do that before because everything was so focused on learning how to program games. There was no tool that I was exposed to that without coding logic you were allowed to just like create games without any barriers. And so that's kind of the thinking behind Emoji Pop. So you play the game, and I think it's a fun game, but I'm still working on it and everything. And you unlock emojis in the game that allow you to make almost different kinds of games. So there's like in the video I talked about like the alien invader, the space invader emoji. That was like side to side. Like that feels more like a shooter game than like a matching game sometimes, like the way you design it. So each level is like your own game that you're making. And I just realized, feel like I'm like in heaven the way the white screen looks behind me. I kind of like that effect. Anyway, so yeah, so that's kind of why I made this whole level editor, and I'm going to be posting regular tutorials and level design streams where I play the levels players create. And I just want to like inspire a new wave of game designers who are interested. That you don't have to be interested in this aspect of the game to play the game, but I know that my core audience will probably be people really obsessed with these kinds of games, like who might be aspiring game designers but they don't know how to program anything. So those people need exposure to game design because game design isn't totally based in engineering. Like most game designers that I know in the industry, they don't have any engineering background at all. Almost they don't know how to program a computer at all. So we need tools that allow those kinds of people to engage in game design. So I'm just going to create a quick level. I have like about an hour left on the stream that I want to record. So this is, I just started a new account, so I don't have any of the new emojis. So I guess I'm just going to make like a really basic level, and I'm going to show you kind of how to first start making a level, kind of some tips or whatever. So one thing to know, the basics are to create a level, you just select which emoji you want to use. So these are the different colors. And then you just drag up here. So you can do this on your own at playmojipop.com. Make sure to create an account right away in order to save your progress and to save your levels and be able to share them. So these are the colors, and so this is the first special emoji obstacle, which is the soap emoji. So you can draw like little soap bunches, and so if I hit that soap anywhere, it would all pop together. So it's kind of like a special obstacle. And so that's kind of, we call that a mechanic. So a mechanic is kind of any rule in the game. So that's one rule, that when you hit soap, it pops all at once. And so level design is really about taking these mechanics and you're blending them together in this level. And you want to pick mechanics that kind of complement each other. And so when you're designing a level, you're thinking through how the mechanics are playing out in the player's head. So that's all I'll say about that for now. So to erase, you click this pencil button and it becomes an eraser. Oh, I feel like the audio is too loud on the computer. Yes, it is. So I'm checking the chat once and now again, so make sure to ask me any questions if you want, or you can even go to playmojipop.com, create an account, make a level, and then you can share it with a web link, and then you can send that link to me or comment it in the chat, and I'll play it on a level design stream. So I'm gonna erase all this. And so, oops. One more thing to know is that you get to decide what size of level you want. So by hitting edit, we can change the size. So there's this cols, which stands for columns. If you hit the minus button, you decrease the number of columns, which kind of makes your puzzle more condensed. So you can make it really condensed if you want to. Like there's not going to be very many options in these kinds of levels since it's all so tight. But maybe you can use that to make a really interesting and unique level, a cool little puzzle. You can also make it really big, so you're kind of digging in into this giant thing. Most levels, I think, are around like 8 to 14 columns. So this one's 8, so that seems like a good start. So let's make a level. So first thing that I'm kind of thinking of is how many colors am I gonna have in this level? So if I used all 6 colors, that means that that's gonna really affect the gameplay. So you have 6 choices basically on the board. So if you're given a color, most likely there's not going to be more than one of that color on the board, and there's a chance that there won't be any. So if you're given a red, there might not be a red match available to you, depending on how it's designed, just because there's so many colors. So the more colors there are, especially on a small board like this, it's going to lower the choice that the player has. And that's the crux of level design in Emoji Pop. You want to be constantly providing players with interesting choices for them to be evaluating constantly. So I'm going to choose 4 colors, which is pretty standard. It also allows us to make like a match at the top of each color. It's important to have different colored matches, especially at the top. For example, if I had only reds and yellows at the top, but I had greens and blues also in the puzzle, players would end up kind of waiting around for the colors they need at the top, since these are the 4 essential matches that the rest of the puzzle will have. So by having one of each color at the top, it kind of makes it balanced. So when I design levels, I'm trying to make sure colors are evenly distributed so that otherwise, so that we prevent players from kind of getting stuck depending on how they dig into the puzzle. So I'm kind of putting like these colors of green where a green hasn't been yet. So looking at this, so this is a little too symmetric. I have reds over here, red over here, green over here, green over here. So I have it all even like that. But if you look, it's kind of just a copy of each other. And that is also a problem, even though you wouldn't think it superficially. So imagine I have green and red. So I could go up the left side, which is green red, or imagine I have green yellow. So like, basically what I'm trying to say is you want to have in addition to having a variety of colors, you also need a variety of color orders. So to get to the top, I have green red, and there's another green red here. And I also have yellow blue and another yellow blue. So really there's only kind of like 2 paths. They're just kind of copied. So I definitely want to shake that up. And it's okay if that ruins the color distribution a little bit. So for example, these blues are pretty tight, but a little bit of that is kind of necessary sometimes. So now there's lots of options. If you have a green red, that's a good way to get to the top. If you have blue yellow, there's one way. If there's red blue, so there's more color combination possibilities that will allow you to get to the top. Alright, so I'm gonna add another one. Maybe, oops, that was soap. So actually I did that on accident, but that might be cool to have some of these be soaps. Soaps offer a color agnostic shot. So if you're getting kind of blocked off in your level when you're playtesting it, you might want to add some soaps to your level because those allow you to shoot and make a progressive match with any color. And so players can kind of save those soaps for when they don't have a color, and it kind of prevents the problem that you might be running into, which is that players don't have the right colors to make matches. Soaps make sure that there's always an opportunity to make a match. Green here. So I saw there wasn't a green in this column yet, so I put that there for that reason. Same with this yellow and a blue here. So I noticed I don't have a red in this row, so we're kind of down to red, so you got to make sure to use red in a prominent position next time. And what's more prominent than right in the middle, so I'll put the reds there. Blue over here. So now I have blue in each of the columns. Ooh, maybe I should have... So I guess I'm going to have an... I could have an extra yellow here, so I don't have yellow in this row, and it's going to be pretty close to have all these yellows to have it right here. So instead I'm going to use a soap here, and maybe a green here, I guess. I could put a green here. And soap. Alright, so let's test that out. So I have a yellow. So my gut's telling me right away just to hit the soap. So that's one reason why it's great to have soap. Blue. So normally when players play, they kind of tend to dig up one way and keep going until they can't anymore, which is, I think, usually a good strategy. I could also kind of open up this middle. I guess I'll just do that. When you play a level, it's good to play it different ways. Sometimes as a total new player, and you can kind of replicate that gameplay strategy by just making some random moves, kind of. But also play it as an experienced bubble shooter and kind of make sure both of those experiences are as smooth and fun as they can be. So right here, for example, if I was playing as like a beginner player, I would kind of shoot this, or I might even shoot one of these lower blue matches. But as an advanced player, I would know that this would be the best move, because not only does it make a match with the blue, but simultaneously it also pops this bubble which drops a bunch of emojis. Red here. And so now we got the top totally open. We have 4 moves left. So I really like, this is like a really tight puzzle. And now we have the perfect number of moves to win, hopefully, if I can nail all these shots. Oh, and if I can get the right colors. So I don't have a red, but I got one now. Hallelujah. Cool, so that was a really good level. I really like that. Okay, so let's keep designing. Maybe I'll log in so that we can use some of the more complex obstacles. I guess maybe I'll just progress a little farther in the game and unlock the rocket, and we can use that. Alright. So every time you beat a level or complete a world, you get to spin a slot machine. And when you spin it after the world, it's always the gold slot machine, which is 4 slots and can give you 10 moves, which allows you to make a lot more progress. So it feels really good to like complete these worlds. You unlock an emoji and you also win a bunch of moves. Definitely enough to get to the next star. So the rocket you hit and it just clears the row. It's pretty simple, but it introduces players to a new mechanic, which is that of something that clears other emojis on the board. So now players are introduced to the idea, oh, there's things you can hit that destroy stuff. So this is the first one. It clears the row, which is really important. This mechanic I also included really early because it reinforces this concept that players need to keep climbing in order to succeed. So by having these things that clear a row and guarantee a scroll, allow you to climb, I'm reinforcing the idea of like you have to reach for a certain point in order to scroll the board. And so I was using soap rows in the previous world, like long things of soap that would drop. But now I'm using this obstacle, which is kind of more subtle. So I'm trying to get players, slowly train players into this habit of just always be thinking, how do I climb as high as I can, as fast as I can. So start out with them very obvious. I just want them to kind of interact with that obstacle a couple times. And this is the first red star. So red stars are speed levels, which are more challenging, I would say. So the level's constantly scrolling while you're making matches. Oops. So it takes a lot more skill. This is something, like in the video that I displayed, this is something that other bubble shooter developers would never touch, I don't think. At least they haven't touched so far, because that requires skill to be able to play with this sort of timing. For example, in match threes, you don't see any like levels in Candy Crush where it's like finish this level in 60 seconds, because so many of their players don't. They're not looking for a skill based game, and they make more money avoiding that stuff and having levels that literally everyone can engage with. And so the second you kind of include skill in your game, you're kind of already going to start preventing people from playing and being motivated to spend money. But skill in the corporate bubble shooters doesn't work, as I said in the video, because it's skill based, and this level by level approach is really punishing, because players will feel immediately burned by the game because they don't have the skill in order to win the levels that are requiring timing and stuff like that. But because I'm designing my game completely differently, I can embrace this level of skill right away. So I played the game for 3 minutes, and I'm already playing like these really intense skill modes compared to the skill required of most casual games. And I'm able to I think engage players more deeply because it's a skill-based game. And video games, by definition, aren't they skill-based? Isn't that the whole appeal of them? At least for puzzle games, at least action games and stuff like that. And I'm wearing sunglasses because the lights are really bright, as well as my future. I don't know. Just making sure we don't have any questions in the chat. I'm streaming most days. I don't have a nailed down schedule yet, but that's definitely coming. I definitely want a consistent time to stream. Making this game with the Cocos.js engine, if you're a game developer yourself. I wouldn't recommend it though, because it's no longer supported. I love making web games, and it's basically ready to export to app stores if I ever want to do that in the near future. But I want to try crowdfunding my game before I go into the app stores, and it's going to be with a slightly different product that I submit to the app stores than what I have on my website. So let's design a level with the rockets. I'm just gonna erase this. I think my computer's been lagging a little bit lately. I think I restarted it, but it's still a little slow for some reason. Oops. So this rocket emoji, we could have them. Maybe I'll make a level where you just have to. There's two kinds of tops. There's tops where the one we just did previously, where there's a color match at each top, and so it's more of a puzzle at the top. Or you can have a top of your level that is like this, which is you just have to climb to the top. You don't have to worry about anything else once you get to the top. Once you find your little narrow path through and you hit the top row, you clear the whole top and you win. So it's very those are very different progressions. Those are different pacing arcs. So that's another factor. Once you kind of start making bigger levels, you're going to be able to start thinking more in terms of pacing. Thinking about how the level evolves in order to make it really engaging. I think that's kind of more at the mastery level of level design. So I think that's what makes the best Mario levels, for example. It's not always the mechanical stuff. It's how does the level evolve? Am I introduced to something early and it ends up evolving over and over again in this really satisfying way? Or is it a really unique level where there's one part and then another part and the two kind of mirror each other? There's all these ways to kind of come up with original, unique pacings for your levels that even though they're using the same maybe mechanics and obstacles, the evolution of how you give challenges to the players is so unique between them, depending on the pacing, that you can make totally new experiences. So we could make a level where we kind of dig. So another kind of atom of emoji pop level design is the matches. So let's say I have 4 colors of matches. What are going to be the sizes of the matches? Are they big and bulky? Are they small? Are they all following a certain pattern? Are they very varied? This is going to really affect the way the level plays. So that's kind of like a decision you have to make at some point. So off the bat, I just try to like pick one kind of match pattern and then I play it, and then I usually reassess after that based on how fun it is or whether I see any opportunities to do something unique with it. Purple. I'm also thinking about color balance, making sure there's lots of different paths with different color combinations and that colors are evenly distributed. So it looks like right now I'm kind of just making a diggy kind of level. Let's add a little soap, because right here I would have had to put green, but there's a yellow here. I don't know, I didn't want things getting too like too repetitive. Because it's also a tighter puzzle, it might be good to have soap in there to, like I said before, in order to provide players with color agnostic shots in case they're stuck or something. We don't have any red in this region, so I'll save red for over there. Put yellow here, since there's no yellow on the right side. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. I noticed there's no yellow on this half, so those are little moments you should be looking for, little problems like that. And often, once you play it, even if you're not looking too closely for those kinds of problems, you'll find it in the game in the play testing of the level. Maybe another soap here. And green. So this is like let's make it a little longer since you just have to get to the top. So the puzzle will be maybe how high can you climb before you have to, I don't know. Sometimes it's kind of hard to know how a level's going to play until you play it. So that's why I always recommend that you don't, maybe if you're thinking of a huge level, don't make it all at once. Maybe save it. Make the smallest, like a core part of your level, like a core puzzle or like proof of what you're kind of thinking in your head, and test it out, and you'll often learn that, oh, the thing in your head wasn't exactly right, but it's given birth to this whole new idea. So you don't want to spend hours making a level only to have to redo everything. So it's important to kind of play test frequently. I'm kind of putting soap in places where I'm having trouble selecting which color I should put there. Green, purple, maybe one more row and we'll test it out like I was talking about. I should put yellow there. I would put red there, but I can't put yellow anywhere else. And I want one other thing that's important in a level. I talked about the top being important, but the bottom is also very important. When you start the level, you definitely want one of each color available. If you start a level and, for example, like you only have one color, or maybe you don't have any matches you can make, you already feel like you're destined to fail, and that's the worst experience. The beginning should be like making you feel like, oh, I'm doing things well and I'm seeing what the level is about. It's kind of foreshadowing what's to come, and I'm definitely in the hunt to win this level. That's what the beginning should be kind of reinforcing in you emotionally. Let's test it out. A red right here. Yellow, I'll make the soap at the same time. Kind of telling you what's in my head as the game player that I'm playing as, so that you kind of know how I'm assessing the gameplay session. Kind of trying to climb as high as possible. I'm acting as a sort of skilled person because I'm making these cross matches that will probably save me some moves. So I have 6 moves left. Let's see if I can do that. This shot I don't think I can make, but I have this yellow and I can totally, oh, I can't quite make that. I might as well hit this yellow and clear a little room. What I'm going to do is match these reds. Then I can try to wedge these greens in and I should be able to win. Purples, red, and I win on my last move. That feels really, really good. Quit. So like I said, you need to probably, I would recommend playing your level multiple times, using different strategies and using different gameplay perspectives, as both a veteran player, a really good player, and also as a total new player, and we're trying to make sure both of those experiences aren't terrible. at the very least. Let's test it again. I'm gonna play as like a low skill player. So I made 2 bottom matches instead of climbing. I don't make the Jason Soap match. I get stuck here. Maybe I make this match here now. So it kind of costed maybe a couple moves there. Have to make this. So beginning players, they kind of pick a direction. They're not always going to be picking randomly. They're kind of just going up one direction. That's what I've noticed when I see people play. So I'm probably not looking for the highest match as a new player. I'm probably going to make this one. And maybe I know how to swap. Like new players also don't swap as much. They're not thinking as strategically often. They're not thinking in advance. So I made one swap. Like if it's really important, that makes sense for a beginner to do that. So I could make this, and then that opens up the top and gives me a chance to win. I would probably pick this as a new player, but let's just try it. Let's see if we can win. Because it'd be cool if you make some mistakes, but there's still potential for you to make up for it. That would be really cool. Oh, cool. So that's how it is. So that's one facet of the level that obviously I could never foresee in my head. That's insane to be able to think that far in advance, but that's something I noticed. Like, I'll show you. The top row has like this little thing here. So if you make mistakes, you can go crazy and make this really high skill tight shot by hitting this, then going up, which means you have to have really good understanding of the strategy of this game. So I like that if you make mistakes, there's still a potential for you to make up for them. Even though there's not complicated obstacles that do that in kind of artificial ways, there's a way for you to succeed, to kind of save moves from every part of the level. So that's kind of actually a core part of the strategy of this level, I'd assume, is kind of picking a path that targets these double row matches that go diagonally, because that's going to allow you to climb 2 rows with only 1 move, and all the horizontal matches are only 1 row per move. So that's the game. Obviously it's a lot more than that, and there's a lot more to come. There's a ton of emojis that you can open. Not all of them are open right now, but right now I'm unlocking 1 per week. If there was ever like a need for more, I would probably just release a bunch of obstacles at once. But I have a lot of insane features to come. I'm not going to talk about this stuff because it's too crazy. I'd rather just show you. I want to be able to. I'm motivated to make crazy game features for level editors to make, because my goal is that maybe one criticism I've heard of the game is it's not as cool as Mario Maker because you can't make as crazy of stuff. But that's only because you haven't gotten to the more advanced worlds where crazy obstacles do open up and allow you to make crazy, unique things and new modes and everything. But also I have in mind a logic system that I want to implement that will allow players to make games of all sorts, not even just bubble shooters. Like, I want players to be able to make like a tic-tac-toe game that goes viral. You know, my goal is to, like, in the way that creations on Minecraft go viral, like people who create the Hogwarts castle in Minecraft or whatever, I want to give my players tools crazy enough that will allow them to, if they put enough work into it, make their own levels that go viral. And because you can share this game, the levels you make, directly to social media, and that anyone can play them without barrier for free, without download or creating an account, everyone in the world can play them who's connected to an internet. I think that really widens your audience and really amps up the potential for virality, as long as I do my job of providing players with crazy enough tools, and also the resources to learn how to use those tools, which I'm doing by these level design streams, which I do every day, and also on my YouTube in the form of level design tutorials. So I think I'm going to wrap up the stream for now. I'm going to be uploading that video I showed in this stream to YouTube tomorrow. And I'm also publishing an article on Game of Sutra tomorrow, a blog post, so look for that on my social media. Follow me, go to playmojipop.com, create an account, create a level, and I will, not only will I stream it here and play it in front of people, but if you start making levels that are pretty decent, I will even feature them in the game. So maybe while you're waiting for your moves to regenerate, you can